Life happens fast. And in an instant, disaster could strike. When the choices you make mean the difference between life and death, what would you do? Put yourself to the test and see if you have what it takes to stay alive. Would you do or die? Colorado, the earth is burning. In the foothills of Pikes Peak, a wildfire incinerates 29 square miles of forest and destroys hundreds of homes. But for the residents of Manitou Springs, one of the worst effects won't be felt until 13 months later. Torrential rains soak the burn area, and before long, the charred soil gives way. A mudslide thunders down the mountain, flooding the roads and catching drivers off guard. Some are immediately picked up and washed away.
Wow.
But 70-year-old Glenn Dotson's car stays in place. For now, he's trapped. Put yourself in Glenn's place.
And this regarding the mudslide?
Yes, there's a person getting out of their car.
No.
What would you do? A. Stay in your car and fasten your seatbelt. B. Steer your car into an embankment to keep it anchored in place. Or C. Abandon your car and run for high ground. Here's what you should consider. You're in your car, surrounded by a raging mudslide, and in danger of being swept to your death. This surging river of rock, earth, and debris is what experts call a mass movement. Gravity pulls this deadly slurry down steep hills at up to 30 miles per hour. As it's channeled into the narrow highway, it continues to pick up debris, gaining enough size and momentum to uproot trees, unearth boulders, and pick up a car like it's a leaf in a gutter.
Oh my God.
If you want to rise above this epic disaster, you'll have to think fast. Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So, what would you do? If you're afraid your car is about to be washed away, you might be tempted to abandon it and make a run for high ground. It only takes 8 inches of moving water to break your car's contact with the road.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So your instincts to escape aren't wrong, but your timing may be. Because once this flood reaches ankle height, or just 6 inches, it's moving with enough power to knock you off your feet. And it's not just water you're falling into. As the flow grinds down the mountain, it digs up tons of earth, taking on the consistency of wet cement. If you get swept up, you're in just as much danger of being pummeled by fast-moving debris as you are drowning. So if running for it could get you run over, maybe the thing to do is steer your car into an embankment to keep it anchored in place. Especially since you now know it only takes 8 inches to turn your car into an uncontrollable boat.
Oh my God. Wow. My car is terrible.
But even if you can wedge your ride against an embankment, all that eroded earth and debris could pile up on top of your car, or even inside it. And the mud could continue to build up until you are entombed. But that's only if you don't get rocked first. Barreling down the steep hill, the mudslide can dislodge large rocks. And a boulder falling from above has the potential to crush a car like a tin can. Choose to anchor in place, and you're giving in to fate. So what should you do? The only surefire way to avoid this catastrophe is to get away before it happens. But since that's not an option,
No.
your best chance at surviving this mud flow is to stay where you are and buckle up. Right now, the frictional bond between your tires and what's left of the road seems to be holding.
Don't get out of your car.
And that's the best position you can be in. By staying in your car, you'll be protected from chunks of floating debris. And if your car does begin to float, being strapped in will keep you from being thrashed around in the cab.
Oh my God.
If you're lucky, you'll be able to ride it out until the flow recedes. But these steps are no guarantee. Experts maintain the most important thing to remember in this situation is to observe, evaluate, and act. If your car does begin to fill with mud, or you're in imminent danger of being slammed by debris, the best thing may be to try your luck running for high ground. Fearing he was in danger,
What is he doing?
Glenn Dotson chose to leave his car,
Get back in your car.
but it nearly cost him his life.
Oh God, don't get out of your car. Oh no, 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 no.
He's immediately swept off his feet. Luckily, another bystander catches him downstream, and he survives. Mudslides are killers. If one is headed your way, immediately get to high ground. But if you're caught off guard, like the people of Manitou Springs, stay in your car, buckle up, and be ready to act. That's your best chance of escaping the surge. You've managed to survive a muddy horror,
Don't get out of your car.
but there are still plenty of other perils rushing toward you, namely, other people. When too many bodies try to fit into too small a space, the results can be crushing. It's the crack of dawn, and you're about to join hundreds of shoppers gathered for an extreme sale on TVs. The mob knows supplies are limited and presses against the metal gates. It's an eerily similar scene to Black Friday. Savvy shoppers know this is the best time to score great deals. But every year, in their frenzied quest for rock-bottom prices, people can be seriously injured. Outside this store, the situation is a powder keg ready to blow. Unable to hold the customers back, managers abandon their efforts to keep them out. Panic and chaos take over as the crowd rushes in. Shoppers struggle to avoid being trampled. And now, you're about to become one of them. Put yourself to the test and see if your instincts would keep you alive. What would you do? A. Make a human chain by grabbing the shoulders of the person in front of you. B. Force your way to the barricades and seek shelter. Or C. Stay with the mob and wait for a chance to escape. Here's what you should consider. You're being squeezed by a panicked mob. Shoppers are racing all around you, and more are pushing into the store every second. In the past 30 years, at least 7,000 people have been killed in human stampedes, many resulting from asphyxiation. The crowd in this stampede is being funneled in by barricades set around 16 feet apart. The center of this surge is rushing forward, while at the edges, struggling shoppers move more slowly as they're pressed against the rails. Caught in this mass panic, you only have seconds to save yourself. Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So, what would you do? With a flood of people pushing at your back, you may choose to force your way to the barricade to seek shelter. But if you think you can outmuscle this human torrent, you're dead wrong. In crazed surges like this, experts agree, you should never fight against the crowd. The power of the rushing people can easily knock you down, and they can trample right over your body. But even if you could fight through the flow, in this scenario, slower-moving people along the stampede's edge have become a dangerous bottleneck. A crowd that's only 10 people deep can generate over 1,000 pounds of force. Try to breathe under that much pressure, and it feels like 16 bags of concrete have been poured right on your chest. With your lungs compressed, you'd be unable to breathe. Force your way to the edge of this crowd, and you'll step into a lethal crush. So if sidestepping disaster didn't work, you could grab the shoulders of the person in front of you to keep yourself from falling. But changes in speed or bumps from the crowd can cause you to pull on your partner's shoulder, sending you both toppling to the floor. Your body would act as a speed bump and could cause a dangerous pileup, creating a domino effect of fallen shoppers. Scientists have measured the pressure at the bottom of human pileups up to 900 pounds. Struggling to breathe, what started as a quest for a flat screen could end with you flatlining. So what should you do? It seems to defy logic, but this is one case where you want to join the mob. As you move with the crowd, keep your arms up like a boxer to block sudden impacts, and quickly push yourself up if you trip. Then, as the crowd spreads out, Move diagonally into open pockets between people. And keep moving until you're certain you've cleared the frenzy. Over 50 people were injured in this human stampede. But now you know how to avoid their fate. Stay with the mob and look for an escape. That's what you do to survive this shopping nightmare. After getting too close for comfort with other people, maybe you prefer the company of a four-legged sidekick. But beware, man's best friend can become your worst enemy. There have never been so many dogs on urban streets. Though the majority of our canine companions have adapted to life in the big city, some never quite outgrow their wild roots. It's a sunny day on a quiet street corner. The owner of 2 German Shepherds is walking his dogs, when suddenly, the dogs ferociously attack a nearby pedestrian. The owner rushes over, but it's too late. The dogs rip into the victim. Now, we're taking you back to right before the mauling. The dogs are lunging. An attack is imminent. What would you do? A. Raise your arm and try to look threatening. B. Jump on top of a nearby car. Or C. Drop to the ground and submit. Here's what you should consider. You're in the middle of the street, moments away from a vicious mauling by a canine that knows a thing or two about takedowns. The German Shepherd. Used by the military since World War I, German Shepherds are powerful animals. These impressive dogs have been recorded pulling over 2,200 pounds. And they have a crushing bite force of over 1,500 pounds per square inch. Now, it's up to you to choose your fate. Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So, what would you do? With 2 vicious dogs bearing down, you could raise your arm and attempt to appear threatening. But is this really your best option? In nature, most animals are experts at sizing up potential threats. And physically, you're no match for 2 German Shepherds that could weigh up to 90 pounds each. They'll know it's just a bluff and seize their opportunity. Try and look threatening, and you've made a fatal mistake. So, if fight didn't work, maybe your best option is flight by getting on top of the nearest car. Dogs have one of the strongest prey drives in the animal kingdom, meaning that while stalking prey, the second their target turns tail, instinct kicks in, and the hunt is on. But even if you do somehow manage to make it to the car, you're still not safe. While chasing down criminals, German Shepherd police dogs have been known to scale fences up to 8 feet high. Most cars are just 5 to 6 feet. So while you think you're getting to high ground, you may just be serving yourself up on a car-sized platter. So what should you do? Surprising as it may sound, if an attack seems truly imminent and there's no way out, the best thing to do is drop to the ground and submit. If you get down before the dogs can drag you there, you have a better chance of assuming a life-saving posture. First, use your arms to block the dogs from going for their natural target, your throat. Then, curl into a fetal position by pulling your knees into your chest to protect your other vital organs. If you play dead and avoid eye contact, the dog should lose focus long enough for you to escape. As brutal as it looks, this victim did everything right. He's left bloodied and battered, but survives what could have easily been fatal. If you want to walk away from an imminent dog attack, submit and drop to the ground. That's what you do if you don't want to die.